Once upon a time there lived a young man who vowed to never marry unless he found a girl with royal blood in her veins. One day he plucked up all his courage and went to the palace to ask the emperor for his daughter's hand in marriage. The emperor was not much pleased at the thought of this match for his only child, but he was very polite, and he said, "Very well, my son. If you can win the princess, you may have her. My conditions are these. In 8 days you must manage to tame and bring to me 3 horses who have never had a master. The first is pure white, the second foxy red with a black head, the third is coal black with a white head and feet. And besides that, you must also bring back to my wife, the Empress, a present of as much gold as the horses can carry." The young man listened in dismay to these words, but with an effort he thanked the emperor for his kindness, and he left the palace, wondering how he was to fulfill these tasks allotted to him. Luckily for him, the emperor's daughter had overheard everything her father had said, and she had been peering through a curtain. She had seen the youth and thought he was the most handsome man she had ever seen. So hastily returning to her rooms, she wrote a letter to him, which she gave to a trusty servant to deliver. She begged him to come to her early the next day, and to undertake nothing without asking her advice first, which is a good preparation for married life, if he wished her to be his wife. That night, when her father was asleep, she crept softly into his chamber and took out an enchanted knife from the chest where he kept all of his treasures, and she hid it carefully in a safe place before she went to bed. The sun had hardly risen in the morning before the princess's nurse brought the young man to her. Neither spoke for some moments, but stood holding each other's hands and gazing into each other's eyes. At last they both cried out that nothing but death should ever separate them. Then the maiden said, "Take my horse and ride straight towards the woods towards the sunset until you come to a hill with 3 peaks. When you get there, turn first to the right and then to the left, and then you will reach a sunny meadow where many horses are grazing. Out of these you must pick the 3 that my father described to you. If they are shy and they refuse to come to you, draw out the knife and let the sun shine upon it so that the whole meadow is lit up by its rays, and then the horses will approach you of their own accord and will let you lead them away. When you have them safely, look about till you see a cypress tree whose roots are of brass, whose boughs are of silver, and whose leaves are of gold. Go to it and cut away the roots with your knife, and you will come to countless bags of gold. Load the horses with all they can carry and return to my father. Tell him that you have done your task, and you can claim me for your wife." The princess had finished all that she had to say, and now it depended on the young man to do his part. He hid the knife in the folds of his garment and rode off in search of the meadow. This he found without much difficulty, but the horses were all so shy that they galloped away as soon as he approached them. Then he drew his knife, and he held it up towards the sun, and directly there shone such a glory that the whole meadow was bathed in it. From all sides the horses rushed pressing round, and each one that passed him fell on its knees to do him honor. But he only chose from them the 3 that the emperor had described. These 3 he secured by a silken rope to his own horse, and then he looked around for the cypress tree. It was standing by itself in one corner, and in a moment he was beside it, tearing away the earth with his knife. Deeper and deeper he dug, till far down below the roots of brass his knife struck upon the buried treasure, which lay heaped up in bags all around. With a great effort he lifted them from their hiding place, and one by one he put them on his horses' backs, and when they could carry no more he led them back to the emperor. And when the emperor saw him he wondered, but never guessed how the young man had been so clever, till the betrothal ceremony was over. Then he asked his newly made son-in-law what dowry he would require with his bride, to which the bridegroom answered, "Noble Emperor, all I desire is that I may have your daughter as wife, and enjoy forever the use of your enchanted knife."